call me crazy, but if you work for a company in the public sector and you suck at your job, if you work for any government agency and you suck at your job, and it's questionable whether or not you followed the rules, the regulations, the laws, and the statute and the Constitution, then you need to be fired or resign before you get fired, right? But that's not what these people think. Check out this. Check this out. Check this out. I got a clip here to play for you real quick. Let me hit it right now. Let me hit it right now. Smash the like button if you like this, right? If you dig in this content.
But there also was pushback from people inside this building, also from people at the FBI, which is not normalizing what Donald Trump is doing, which is to just habitually replace FBI directors that he doesn't like. These people are supposed to serve 10-year terms for a reason, to try to remove them from the influence of politics. And here Donald Trump is now about to have his second FBI director, in this case with Christopher Wray, pushing him out ahead of the time that he takes office. So at this hour, we know that the FBI director is talking to FBI.
Donald Trump is not pushing him out for the sake of pushing it out. He's pushing him out because in a letter from Chuck Grassley, the U.S. Senator from Iowa, laid out in a scathing letter to Christopher Wray, lays out the multiple times judiciary committees, other committees investigating various aspects of corruption asked him for information, and he didn't get it. They didn't get it from Christopher Wray. He didn't uphold the Constitution, laws, and statutes to protect the American public from enemies, foreign and domestic. And the 10-year term is not guaranteed, because you can have an FBI director like Christopher Wray that sucks, and what are you going to do? Keep him? No, you're not. You're going to get rid of him. You're going to fire him or ask him to resign.
Employees, he wanted to make sure they heard the news from him, while he also tries to make it clear that he plans to get out of the way before the new president takes over. Boris?
Yeah, it's a real politicization of the FBI, even as people argue, oh, it's been politicized, so there needs to be change. It's sort of this wheel in a way that keeps going on this issue, Evan. I wonder if you have a sense of how people working inside the FBI are feeling about this and the effect that this may have internally on those folks who are doing this work day in, day out.
So inside the FBI, Chris Wray has been seen actually as a very thoughtful, as a very quiet leader, someone who is trying to restore the reputation of the FBI. That has obviously not worked out that well, especially among Republicans, who have been very critical of a number of things, including, of course, investigations of Donald Trump. The Mar-a-Lago search is something that Donald Trump himself raised in his interview over the weekend with NBC. So,
no other law enforcement agency ever in U.S. history has raided a former president's home. I mean, where do these people get this stuff from? I would keep talking about it too. If I made history in a bad way because I have a director of the FBI that signed off on looking through my wife's drawers in my Mar-a-Lago home, yeah, I'd still be talking about it too. Enough of this crap, right? We'll get to another one. We will get to another video that shows liberal media meltdown over Christopher Wray's resignation that occurred recently. Smash the like button if you enjoy this content. Where's that other one? Yeah, let's play this. This is a montage of the meltdown, right? Devastated that Christopher Wray resigned. He should have resigned. Long overdue.
FBI director just resigned. Christopher Wray announced a moment ago that he will leave by the end of the current administration.
I think it's going to be very difficult, and I'm very disappointed that Director Wray decided to resign.
It's a sad day for the institution.
I'm struggling to really understand.
There were some people who were seen crying in the room.
There was also a somber tone.
I just want to emphasize what a departure from the norm this is.
This is a norm-shattering event.
This unprecedented move.
We've become used to presidents firing FBI directors.
That normalizes the idea that you can just replace FBI directors when you just don't like
Yeah, you can.
what they're doing.
It was Trump himself who appointed Wray, a fellow Republican.
Chris Wray, somebody who he nominated himself.
He appointed the wrong guy.
He's the face of the so-called deep state.
This, of course, clears the way for Trump's pick, Kash Patel.
And this really marks the end of what was a delicate dance for Christopher Wray, where he tried for years to keep the FBI away from partisan politics.
Yeah, it's a real politicization of the FBI.
I just want to emphasize the level of concern among current and former FBI officials that Kash Patel is the wrong person to run the FBI is very, very high.
There's a lot of concern that the Bureau is going to be turned essentially to go after Trump's enemies.
Are U.S. attorneys who are loyal to Trump going to tell us to not open corruption cases on Republicans, to not open counterintelligence cases on Russia?
Patel's road to confirmation is lined with red flags being waved by his former Trump administration colleagues, including a dire public warning from former Trump National Security Advisor John Bolton.
The guardrails may not hold.
Polls show that around half of Americans don't trust the FBI, but perhaps no one is more to blame for that than Mr. Trump himself, who has baselessly accused the Bureau of conducting witch hunts against him.
Oh, this letter that I'm about to read, I'm not going to read the whole letter from Chuck Grassley, but it will lay out to these soy boy, wet behind the ear kind of guys that are on national television lying. I mean, that's the reason why NBC, MSNBC, CNN, all these crappy legacy news stations and channels are losing ratings. They're losing viewers at the cyclic rate to guys like me and to guys with bigger platforms, of course. But come on, man. All right, that was the end of that. All right, cool. All right, one more video and then we get to the letter, right? One more video and we will get to the letter. Let's do this. Smash the like button if you're enjoying this so far.
Hey, they will grill up. Face ready? Hold it.
Okay.
Well, today, Senator Chuck Grassley released a new letter expressing a vote of no confidence for current FBI Director Christopher Wray. The 11-page letter details what Grassley sees as failures during Wray's term as director. The letter calls on Wray and Deputy Director Paul Abate to step down. Grassley also took to X, where he accused Wray of refusing to answer to Congress and politicizing the agency. President-elect Donald Trump recently nominated Kash Patel to lead the FBI. Wray would
go Cash
or be fired for Patel to get that position.
All right, let's get to the letter. Let's get to the letter real quick. Let me make sure the sound is off because it doesn't look like I paused it. All right. Let's get to the letter, right? This is the letter, guys. United States Senate, Washington, D.C., December 9th, Chuck Grassley. Where is he at? He's down here. He signed there at the bottom. His real name is Charles, but, you know, Chuck is short for Charles, right? Republican senator from Iowa. He's been serving in Congress for nearly 50 years. It's directed to Director Wray from the FBI, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he was basically saying that FBI director is a sacred position to hold in the federal government because there have only been 8 FBI directors in the FBI's 116-year history. I mean, that's really saying something. And during the Senate confirmation in 2017, when Wray was being confirmed as the FBI director, Chuck Grassley basically pulled him aside and said, look, we need the FBI cleaned up. We need more transparency. We need whistleblower protection. We need all this, right? We need you to be prompt in answering and responding to congressional inquiries directed at the FBI. And of course, he's done none of that, right? So Chuck Grassley goes on to list out the reasons why he has no confidence in Christopher Wray. One of the most egregious examples is the FBI's failure to provide basic information I requested more than 2 years ago related to the FBI's ongoing mishandling of sexual harassment claims made by the FBI's female employees. This request was not pulled out of a hat. It was based on credible whistleblower disclosures alleging hundreds of FBI employees had retired or resigned to avoid accountability for sexual misconduct. So that was one, right? Asking for information confirming sexual harassment allegations from female FBI employees. That's number one. Number two, likewise, in May and August of 2022, I wrote you requesting information about the vetting of individuals evacuated from Afghanistan through Operations Allies Welcome. So, the fall of Afghanistan, when we left Afghanistan in August of, I think, 2021, somewhere around there. I think it was August of 2021 where 13 service members died. I may have the year incorrect. But we all remember the Afghanistan withdrawal. 13 service members died. And there were refugees from Afghanistan that came to the United States unvetted. And there turned out to be 50 individuals initially flagged by an intelligence center of those 50 individuals being convicted of committing sexual assault crimes and other crimes that would have gotten them expedited out of the United States. So that's the second one. The third one, let's go real quickly. Smash the like button if you're enjoying this. Right? Consistent with that FBI failure, yet another glaring example of FBI's broken promises under your leadership is its inexcusable failure to investigate bribery allegations against former Vice President Joe Biden while strictly scrutinizing former President Trump. Remember, two-tier justice system? So focused on Trump, ignored all the mounting evidence against then Vice President Joe Biden that substantiated allegedly Vice President Biden at that time was involved in a bribery scheme. Right? Let's go real quickly. So that's the third one. Excuse me. That's the third one. All right. While the FBI under your leadership turned a blind eye to information contained in the FD 1023, which is a document that lists all the allegations against then Vice President Biden, that was prejudicial to President Biden, FBI agents conducted an unprecedented raid of President Trump's home in Florida to serve a warrant for classified documents. In that raid, roughly 30 armed agents entered the home of a former president of the United States with full authorization to use lethal force if needed to execute its warrant, and even searched the former First Lady's clothing drawers. That raid was signed off by Christopher Wray. That's the fourth one. All right. Here goes another one. The FBI, under your lack of leadership, also served, and this is a letter from Chuck Grassley to Christopher Wray, listing all his failures. The FBI, under your lack of leadership, also served as an accomplice to the Democrats' false information campaign designed to undermine my investigation of alleged Biden family corruption. You already know how that went. Joe Biden pardoned him. Joe Biden pardoned Hunter Biden. All the information was on that laptop that the FBI had for years before turning it over for Hunter Biden court proceedings so they could use it as evidence against him, and then he ended up getting pardoned anyway. Isn't that something? All right. Here's the sixth one right here. That was the fifth one. Here's the sixth one. If these examples aren't enough to make my point, there are many, many more to offer. All right. More than a year and a half, the FBI has failed to be responsive to repeated requests, again, addressed to you, asking for information about the outrageous memo prepared by analysts and the FBI's field office in Richmond, Virginia. That memo struck fear in believers across the country by purporting, without anything other than bias, discredited sources like the Southern Poverty Law Center to tie faithful Christians to violent extremism. So, there's a field office in Richmond that develops a document and has supporting documentation, I guess based on bias or whatever, that Christians are linked to extremism. And then Christopher Wray was like, well, that document was a one-off, but then further investigations found that there were other documents informing that document coming from other field offices in the eastern region, and of course Christopher Wray's testimony initially was compromised by that finding. Let's go to a seventh one, and then he really lays into him right here. Let's see. I want to skip that one. Taxpayer money. Okay. He had asked Christopher Wray for his promise to protect whistleblowers if they come forward and reveal some information that the FBI, the top dogs in the FBI, were holding back from congressional inquiries. And there have been whistleblowers that lost their clearances, lost their jobs, lost their livelihoods, and so the promise of protection of whistleblowers by Christopher Wray, he failed to do that, right? But he really lays into him right here. The FBI for years have failed to update me on materially false statements and obstructed the work of the Judiciary Committee and my investigative staff during the committee's consideration of nomination of Brett Kavanaugh. He's one of the chief justices on the Supreme Court. He also failed to provide information on the targeting of pro-life activists like Mark Hook and the heavy-handed at gunpoint raid against him, similar to what happened to Trump. Let's see if I can really get into it. But really, the last point I would make is the FBI still has not produced a report on what happened in the assassination attempt in Butler, Pennsylvania. Not a word, not a page, nothing. Not a memo, not a sticky note on what happened that day. Where were the security backgrounds? So Christopher Wray failed in his duties, which is the reason why he chose to resign before he got fired. And if I were him, I would have done the same thing. So stop all the media boo-hoo whining and crying over somebody who didn't do their job. Come on, man. All right. Hey, smash the like button if you enjoyed this content. I'll see you in the next video.